Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the next game of the 2023 Underwater Rugby World Championship here in Montreal, Canada. With Philippe and me commentating this game. It's Denmark's female team versus Sweden. Should be quite a competitive match. We haven't seen a lot of them lately playing against each other, so it's going to be very interesting to see them here at this tournament. Sweden with a bit of a younger team, also Denmark this time compared to the last World Championship in Graz here with a full squad, and we're already kicking off the game, and Denmark seems to be in possession of the ball, but it's a bit of a bottom scrum here with the Swedish team. Yeah, Denmark pushing them back into their own half, immediately initiating the attack. See Swedes trying to block the path for the Danes. Oh, cheeky one. A Danish player here took away the basket from the Swede, switched with her, led her to believe that she's her exchange partner. And now the ball here back on the surface, scrummed up to the top. Sweden tried to break out. Denmark get back in possession of the ball, trying to get back in onto the Swedish basket. Now getting hold of the corner, trying to circle the ball a little bit. Players, you can see them coming from the back, so players exchanged in between. Always important to notice when your team does have some players swimming back due to being exhausted, trying to exchange. But now a good attack here onto the Swedish basket, but the defender being in between the ball and the attacker, fending her off initially, pass downwards and immediately trying to go forward, but the Danes are pressing very closely to the ball. Trying to lock her up, but Danish girls quite tough, very strong. Heidam quick flip the ball and going immediately for the basket again. Oh, Swedish defender trying to push her away with her feet, trying to pass between her legs, but couldn't get the ball stuffed through. Still on the offense, moving in, positioning a player underneath the basket, stealing away the defensive position, but Sweden in possession of the ball, moving forward, trying to get off their own half. Scrumming in the middle of the pool, as we've seen with a lot of teams that are playing on very equal playing field. The middle of the pool, quite the battlefield, often a back and forth between both teams, capturing the ball, regaining the ball, losing the ball. Teams trying to use 4 forwards as much as possible in the middle of the pool. But then we can see Sweden being a bit conservative here, setting up their defense early, trying not to lose their positioning, knowing very well with their own technique, having someone steal your basket or defensive position can be very problematic. Trying to shove the ball over the goalkeeper, intercepted by Sweden. Sweden trying to get out of their own half, but Denmark doing a very good job here, closing down, tightening up spaces, not leaving them enough room to maneuver a lot. Now a couple of passes to the middle, didn't see her teammate initially, had to slow down the fast break. see Iverson, 2 players on 1 Swedish girl, but she manages to put the ball forward. Kajsa for the Swedes. Now 2 players approaching the Danish corner. Sweden now slowing the game down quite a lot, catching their breath. Denmark very stable, putting the defense into place quite early. Trying to circle the ball around. Trying to get players in proper position, but Denmark with the defense in place. You can see the defenders waiting for the Swedes to go in. And I had him here waiting to intercept the ball. Sweden very conservative in the beginning, but now a little bit of a push. Oh, trying to go into Therese Blennert. Oh, but stopped by Signe Tomola. Now back to scrum on the surfer. Rothfeld here. Fighting with Elin Horse. You can see 2 Swedes waiting underneath to receive the ball. Best position you can be in as a player to wait when there's a surface scrum. A nice fast break here from Sweden. Sarah Nielsen trying to get the ball closer to the Danish goal, but Denmark now already back in position. You can see the forwards coming out very far. The defenders and goalkeepers moving out, trying to help the teammates. Sweden are trying to get in there. Linda Carlsen trying to move in. Didn't have anybody to pass through now. Denmark back in possession. Fransen back to Raven. Already 6 minutes played here in the first half. Now Sweden, after a big push of Denmark in the beginning, now Sweden being the more offensive team. Trying to circle the ball in the corner, trying to wait if there's a hole, if there's a gap opening. A bit of holding there when we had them, but both back on the ball, fighting as their person. Now moving in, 3 players well positioned. You can see the ball being passed to the left, good positioning, but you can see very well intercepted here by Johanna Wegeberg. Moving her out, shoving her up, and now the basket. Defense not in position. Defenders very aggressively pushing outwards, trying to push the ball away from the Swedes, but Sweden keeping possession, moving in again, Elin Strand from above, attacking the goalkeeper, trying to pass down. Can't get it to Linda Carlsen, but Persson. Yeah, we can see Denmark playing rather conservative, quite similar to the men's team, where they have the forwards very close to the basket, letting them come in a bit closer than trying to get the ball away from the attacker. Now we can see them beautifully coming from the dead angle, trying to get onto the back. Now attack, good attack from Sweden, trying to get to the goalkeeper. Goalie getting a hand on the ball, preventing the initial contact for Sweden, and now moving back outwards. Oh, ball captured again by Sweden above the goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper pushing her away with the fins very well. Have to avoid kicking here, very dangerous. Now Denmark back in position, having 3 players moving forward. Leila is following up Emilie Mattisen, going straight for the Swedish basket, trying to move in from above. Stilists, Reuter, they're moving in onto the basket. Hadam, also very well suited veteran of this team, playing for them for a very long time. You can see back surface scrum at the moment. But ball back in possession for the Danes. Trying to keep the ball in their own ranks, but Swedish forwards doing a good job being close to their opponents, giving them very little space, but still Denmark, Fredrik Reuter moving immediately towards the basket as soon as they get the ball and have a bit of a leeway, swimming freely. Nicely moving in again, 2 players trying to get a hold of the goalkeeper from above, trying to maybe get the ball to the other side. Oh, pass, barely made it. I'm bringing back out. See again, 3 players moving in. Back to scrum above the basket. Denmark now pushing hard against the Swedish defense, sending in a couple of waves after another, trying to open up, doing some needle stings, get back and forth past the surface, using the 3D space, but Sweden was a bit ready for it, could try to scrum her away. Now we can see players trying to position at the Swedish basket, now back in the corner. Guess Denmark having to wait a little bit for players who are exchanging, not having a lot of players underwater at the moment, trying to play the ball around on the surface a little bit, trying to lure the the Swedish forwards out so they have a better angle at the goal. Sweden doing a really good job so far. Defenders getting back into position very quickly. Oh, nicely moved the ball underneath the basket. Oh, behind the defender. The defender is very well aware of where the ball is, and the forward also in between ball and basket. Now, rather good. Could have players were a little bit faster to engage their open basket underneath the defender. Just waiting a second if she has to go back down or can go up. Just a little bit of edge security, lay list, stop and counter. And not beaten. Now back to scrumming in the middle of the pool, trying to move the ball up. Denmark blocking the ball. They love to fight on the surface, but they were quite strong. Can rip the ball out. Seeing the Swedish player very well positioned, but Danes waiting to intercept those balls, dropping down. And it's usually one of the first things you learn as an underwater rocket player. Don't have more than 1 player scrumming on the surface. You can have one-on-one, but everybody else just position yourself underneath the scrum and on the side. Catch a little bit of a breath, exchange with the player underneath the scrum, wait for the ball to drop down. You don't need more than 1 player to scrum on the surface. You want to have the ball circling around your team. Scrum isn't fun. Stop there. But can keep the ball in their own team. Just now moving in a bit, but keeping the ball in the corner. You can see here Sweden with a stable defense, good effort here by the forward to strip the ball out, but pushed up to the surface into a scrum, but can move forward. Very strong effort here by the Swedish forward to keep the ball in their own ranks, and now they have a little bit of a fast break opportunity here. You have Alien Strand trying to go in, but doesn't have support from her teammates, has to wait a little bit. They have to move back into the corner, secure the ball in their own team. Tien. Now, last minute approaching. It's a very fair game. Few referee calls here so far. I don't think there was a single referee call in this game so far. Both teams playing. Oh, nice one-on-one here. Good pass underneath, but Danish defense. Good awareness. The forward already in position to remove the attacker as soon as she receives the ball. Now moving back out. Jensen. Attacked by Strand. Ball moved round from Tien, moving in. Strong initial push by her, but the defender in place. Casalito trying to move in. But the Danish defense, very solid so far, always in position. But oh, now a bit of mistake. She does have a chance to move. Oh, the ball dropping down on the other side. Everybody didn't see the ball. Moved too quickly up to surface, and now, oh, that was a very, very, very good last effort by the Swedish team here. In the last seconds of the first half, they could have scored the 1-0 in the last second, which is hugely demoralizing for a team if you have to be on defense for quite a long time. So we see a very even game between Denmark and Sweden here. Sweden in blue, Denmark in white. It's halftime now, 4.5 minute break. 0-0.
Can we say that Sweden had probably the closest probability to score?
Yes, Sweden did have some really good scoring opportunities, but they were very rare. Denmark had ball possession for most of the game, but couldn't really seize the opportunities they had. They got a little bit closer to the basket, but never really got that dangerous to Sweden. So yes, we'll see how the two teams will adjust in the second half.
Yeah, the Danish for sure had more possession of the ball.
So Denmark also very avidly stopping the Swedish team from moving too far out of their own half, always having 1, 2, 3 players ready to pick off a ball, to bring them up to a scrum, using their strength to their advantage. So we can see how this will progress in the second half. So 3.5 minutes after the halftime break. One of the most even games we had all day. And also a very decisive game in the group to play, so.
I don't remember another game that went without any goals to the second half.
Yeah. Yes, there was no game so far that was a 0-0 through the entire first half. We had Denmark and Germany with a very close 1-1. But yes, as Chet says, amazing effort by both teams. Very stable defenses, so we'll see how the games adjust, how the teams adjust, what the coach is going to tell them. For Sweden, most likely they need a little bit more push outwards. They have this one person available, one woman available to push out of their own half, to get into the Danish half, to keep possession over there. Because if they can get there, they get possibilities and opportunities to score. On the other side, Denmark, they have the ball. They need to bring more players down to the ground, get in there, have a player approach from the rim height, stressing the goalkeeper, having somebody else available for a pass, for a quick pass behind the goal. We'll also see if Denmark is exchanging some players to Sweden as well. It's also a very, very deep and long pool, as we've said the entire day. It's very rough if you have to swim back and forth all the time, so you can see strong teams try to keep the game in the middle of the pool, stop teams early, push them back into their own half, force them to be down on defense. Yes, as Chad said, it's very good to have numbers on the fins, so shout out to all players who have numbers on the fins, helping us identify them, so we can give them a little bit of shout out if they do something cool or special. Right, a minute of halftime break left. seconds to go, second half. Starting. See who's gonna get the ball. Very even the last time.
Thomas, do you remember what was the last in the last World Cup? What was the position of which?
Denmark had a bit of a disappointing start into the World Cup for them. They lost their group to Austria and Colombia, so they only got what is a ref call? Probably holding. So they didn't make it out of the group rounds.
Okay.
So they had to play for the last places, where they then I think they got third from last during the World Championship 2019.
You were doing the
Yeah, I was doing commentating back then. So the Austrian girls beat them 1-0, I think it was, which was quite a surprise, and then they had a game against Colombia. But they did rather well in the European Championship, and they only had 9 players at the World Championship, so that's not that much of a valid comparison, I'd say. So I think the team that's here is a lot stronger than the team back then. And yeah, for Sweden, I personally haven't seen that much of Sweden during the last years. Their performance during the World Championship was fine. They had a bit of a slope over the last years, but I have the feeling that they had a lot of young players coming back in. They're now getting experience, and some good old veterans that are joining, so they have a good mix of older and younger players here on the team. They had the youngest player in the tournament during the 2019 World Championship, so those are having now 4 years more experience, which is great for the team. And those usually add up in a very positive way. So Sweden surely, I'd say, on an upwards trend here, getting competitive with the top teams.
Okay, I see.
It will be interesting how they compare to a team like Germany, Colombia, or Norway. Okay, so moving in, well defended here by the Danish defender, getting a hold on the ball. Oh, bit of an open basket here from Sweden, and Heidam trying to take a little list here, trying to take advantage of it, but being stripped away in the last second by the Swedish defenders. She kind of seemed a bit irritated in the beginning that the basket is open. Wasn't I think she wasn't quite sure if everything is alright. Yeah, back to a surface scrum. It's never good to have a scrum above your own goal, especially if it involves the goalkeeper or a defender and you can't have your rotations up.
Yeah, it's very dangerous because sometimes you get the ball and you have to leave the basket, but it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Your teammate has to be very synchronized to get your position and to cover your back.
Also, this is where you can separate the S-tier defenders from the ones that are chipping in for their teammates, that see what's happening in the game.
Yeah.
And also the S-tier forwards, who usually chip in also for their respective teammates, taking up positions. Nice kind of, punch the ball out. Going straight back forward, trying to pass the ball to the middle, but had to stop her movement for a second.
Two against two.
Adam Tamturotha.
They are recovering some breath, the Danish girls.
Yeah, we see Denmark here circling the ball around, trying to lure out the Swedish defenders and forwards a little bit, so they might get a clear shot towards the goal. Yeah, we can see the starting signal. Two Danish players tried to approach the goal. One even stole the defensive position, now try to move in, trying to seize this opportunity. Being held off on the right side of the goal. Sweden recovering. This is a ref call. Holding foul against Denmark. So Sweden now back in possession of the ball, able to move back into their own half of the game, out of their own half of the game.
I like the strategy of the Swedish. Look at this.
For free throw? Ah yes, it's the sneaky pass behind the back.
Sneaky pass, yeah.
It's a very good option for all the teams that are struggling with free throws. Have a player, usually it's a defender, the forward defender and forward goalkeeper who are doing this. You have the defender hand over the ball back to the goalkeeper. You get your first safe pass in, and then they are allowed to swim, so they can find an open spot. And then if you can find the pressing stations, you can have all players go from one side to another. There's a hefty scrum going on here on the surface. It's like there are punches being thrown and elbows are being shoved around.
Oh yeah, those elbows are very nasty.
That's why you stay under the scrum and you don't go in there.
I have a couple of teammates that have been that have some scars from those elbows.
Yeah. All of us experienced on water rocket players have to take an elbow or another at some point in time.
Yeah.
As long as it's not on purpose, it's fine.
But sometimes you don't know if it's on
Yeah.
purpose or not. It's sometimes it can get rough.
Sweden trying to prep for an attack, trying to move in. Ooh, yet again, still keeping possession of the ball. Denmark, you can see, pushing them a bit away.
Oh,
Oh, that was very well picked up by the Swedish player.
behind her back.
Yeah, moving away from the goal to get the ball, so keep it in possession for the team rather than just going back up. She went a little bit further forward, picked up the ball above the Danish goal and held it for their own ranks. Very well done.
Very well synchronized, these things.
We see both teams struggling to have enough players on the bottom and at the front. We see now a lot of basically no Swede up front. They all pulled back a bit to have their teammates exchange, but now with fresh players at the front. Moving forward now, they have 3 players. Doesn't see her teammate initially, is twirling around a bit, trying to move in. We see the amount of players who are trying to push and pull in between. Unlucky that she couldn't get hold of the ball, but an open space here now for Sweden. Defender not in place. Good positioning. Can she pull through? But the defender got a grip on the ball initially. Sweden now she can't. Had to, it's a free throw for
Sweden.
For Sweden for pushing.
Look, she's gonna steal the ball.
Yeah.
The basket.
Now Sweden stole the basket. This is a very dangerous situation for Denmark. And now. There's a timeout. Very good call. Very good call here by the Danish team to take a timeout here, most likely. Yeah, white timeout. Yeah. Smart decision to the basket stolen away. Free throw about 3 to 4 meters away from your own goal. You take a timeout, you have one per halftime. You force them back and then you can recuperate. Also very long defensive stretch here for the Danish team as well, so they can catch the breath. Well done. Good decision by whoever took the timeout. I guess the Danish coach or the Danish captain.
Who can call the timeout on the deck? The captain, someone from the team, or only the coach?
Usually the coach and the captain are allowed to call a timeout. Okay. But I think in general anybody can call a timeout if necessary. But usually only it's on the teams, it's only the captain or the coach who does it.
You need to have that. Yeah, probably the coach or someone with a hierarchy to do it.
Danish coach giving them some instructions. Tables have turned now a little bit. Denmark now having issues getting out of their own half, whereas Sweden is the more offensive team. Right, game will continue. Yeah, Denmark now preemptively positioning themselves on the bottom so they can't get the basket stolen away. Oh, but yeah, there she goes. Sending it back again. Is there second timeout? Is it a blue timeout as well? That'd be interesting.
Why would they do that? Oh, they're starting from their side.
That was some call by the ref. Yeah, free throw is now being executed. A long pass, but still able to get there. Now both teams recovered, moving in immediately, seizing those first moments after the timeout where everybody's fresh and has a bit of air left in the tank to go in with 3 players at once. Denmark certainly ready, knowing what's to come. Sweden trying to move in from the left. Some players trying to push in onto the basket without the ball, but
You can see the difference between the Colombian team, the Colombian style, and the Nordic team style. The Nordic team style seems to be more physical. They try to break the defense, while the Colombian team, the female team, when they play against the Australian, they were passing the ball around the basket and moving and passing very quickly,
yes.
avoiding the scramble.
Yeah, so the passing game usually very stamina intense, so you have to swim a lot, you have to create a lot of open spaces, which is the most challenging thing to do for any team around the opposing basket, to have the ball, keep the ball going, circle it around. We've seen Germany do it very well today also, just pushing the ball around the basket against Canada in the first game of the day. But yeah, certainly Colombia is one of those teams who likes to do that, also because they're not as large and physical as some of the other teams are.
Yeah.
So one of the big advantages of the Nordic and the European teams is usually their size and their weight and the strength. Is it a holding? No. Was a bit of back and forth holding, so they didn't call it.
We have a counter-attack.
Yeah, now we have first real counter-attack here. Yeah, and they're gonna go all the way, but they have 3 people here in the back. But they're gonna try to push through. On a pass back to the other side was a bit. Should have kept it and went for the basket, but yeah, the refs stopped it.
White free throw.
It's a blue free throw.
Is it a blue one?
Yeah, for Sweden. So already 10 minutes played here in the second half. It's a very even matched game. Both teams countering each other very well. Sweden a bit more offense here in the second half. They seem to have adjusted better to the size of the pool and to the game. The Danes now a bit more on the back foot, having had a counter-attack during the last segment, but other than that, playing a lot of defense during this half. And for both teams especially, I mean, depending on how the other games in the group go, a 0-0 is not the worst. I mean, it might come down to goal difference at the end of the day between the 2 of them then.
Yeah.
If they should both lose for the group first, against the group first. But other than that, end of the day in an international championship like this. Oh, nice attack here by the Danes, now stealing away the baskets. Sweden now in a bit of trouble. The goalkeeper not able to get back. She's very well positioned here. You can see her leaning sideways so that there is an opening above the basket. But Sweden back in possession of the ball and going right for the counter attack. Moving in a little bit of a tuck, so she can't close in initially, but good attack here from the Swede. The ball dropping down, picked up by the defender, Jensen, passing it forward to Tomola. Now Denmark again trying to go for the fast break with Tyson. A bit of back and forth passing, into the middle, it's again a call by the ref. Holding, and yet again against Denmark. It's those mistakes that hurt you really, really heavily. If you use all your energy, you go into a fast break, you try to swim all the way across the entire pool, and then you do a stupid little foul. The ref sees it, it's right in front of them. You swim past their eyes, so you can't risk anything. Just keep the ball in your own team. If you can't go straight for the goal, go to the corner, keep the ball in your own ranks. You don't want to swim back and forth the entire time. It's the most exhausting thing you can do throughout such a championship.
We have less than 4 minutes to go, and the score is still 0-0 for each team.
So, Sweden now moving forward. Again trying to get into a surface scrum. Sweden moving in. Nice attack on the goalkeeper, getting she got a hold on the head of the goalkeeper, on the cap. Something that some refs call as foul very quickly, others don't. Yet again, nice attack from above, trying to get into the exchange of the goal. That was close. That was nearly on the rim. The goalkeeper could push it away. Well done by Denmark. And Denmark now initiating a fast break. So but stopped by the defender in the back. Trying to get back in position, playing on the open side now. Quite risky because the Swedish attackers jump into the pool and have a short way. Denmark trying to push in, trying to brute force the goal here, but picked off Heidam, the vet. She even can keep possession of the ball, passing it down to Little List. The player is, she was in position, but she lost the ball. Swing back out.
3 against 2.
Still in possession of the ball, List.
Yeah, very strong position.
But and they're not 100% in position, but being pushed back into her, onto the basket. Circling the ball a bit. Position stolen here. A little bit of murder position for Denmark, but doesn't take the opportunity. You have 1.5 minutes in this game. Sweden trying to come from a dead angle onto the Danish forwards. I'm trying to move in from above. We can see the Swedish defenders very well aware of what the Danes want to do. Noah's trying to pick them up and they come from above, not giving them a lot of space to maneuver around. And the Danes not able to have enough players around the basket. They're very fast, very strong in the middle of the pool. They're putting in a lot of effort to regain possession of the ball, but as so many other teams before today, some teams are really struggling to get a numbers advantage around the basket. They're now back into the Danish half. 40 seconds to go, and Sweden will surely try to push in with all that they've got.
30 seconds to go. Will there score?
Wiedberg, ball back into Danish possession. 26 seconds. Can they go for a fast break? This is the question. Sweden want to stop this forward progress as soon as possible. 14 seconds left. I think at this point Denmark is, they're just trying to scrum the ball and have the game end in a tie. Not risk anything, not opening up too much. It seems they're content with a draw in this game, to be fair.
They must be.
So yeah, incredible effort by both teams here. Denmark versus Sweden, the first 0-0 draw we've seen here in this World Championship. Really fantastic effort by both teams. First half rather dominated by Denmark, but then Sweden with the adjustments coming back into the second half, having some one or two very good scoring opportunities, but couldn't fully execute throughout the entirety of the second half. Denmark having some fast breaks, but not able to bring enough players underneath the basket. So very close game, fun game to watch. Very interesting to see this group progress. A tie always opens up a group a lot because all the other teams can now chip in. It's goal difference that starts to count, so the other teams are gonna get a little bit more explosive. No team can really lean back. They have to go put in all the effort in all other games, no matter how tough or how slow those games might be. And it's gonna be an interesting World Championship here. So we have a little bit of a break, and then we will be back with the next one and with an interview. So next game will be the men's team from Germany versus the United States of America.